Hello, everyone. This is Leimomi Keliikuli, intuitive soul alignment mindset coach here, and we're here for my Mastering Your Soul's Gifts interview series. And I have my lovely Isabel Starck here. We wanted to share with you guys some amazing, empowering, inspirational kind of stories, and what it took for her to get into her genius. So why don't we start with you telling us who you are, what you do, how did you become a genius at what you do now?
Well, first of all, Leimomi, thank you very much for having me, and hello to everyone who is watching. If we haven't met yet, I'm happy to meet you. So as Leimomi said, my name is Isabel Starck, and I am a life business empowerment coach. So I basically help people step into their power and achieve the dreams that they want to create in their life and their business. So you asked me about how I do my genius and how I got into that. Well, I think it's just been a very long progression. In my 44 years here on this planet, on Earth, I have experienced a lot of ups and downs, just as everybody else has. And from a very, very young age, I've just always had this desire to just learn more, to understand more, I'm a self-development junkie, so I'm one of those people who probably belongs in that support group, which I love, I totally love, because it helps me not only understand myself, but understand others and how to actually interact with that. And the way I really started the business that I'm in now is I just kind of grew right into it. So from a very young age, by the age of 19, I had gone into the corporate world, and I was already managing people in their 50s at that age. And you can imagine, for me being 19 and looking at these people who could be my parents and telling them what to do and how to show up and what to do, it was a little challenging. Internally, I would say, because I didn't have the self-confidence that I have now. And I think that does come with time, also with a good upbringing, but with time and just expanding into it more. So I guess fast forward really, because I've worked in corporate, I've owned my own business, I started a business with my husband. I've worked, in more the higher VP levels. I've traveled the world on business, and I have really been able to just be, I guess, side by side with, millionaires all the time, and also people who were homeless. So I've gone the gamut, everything that you can imagine. And, at the end of the day, we're all human, right? And we all have needs, we all have wants. And I think being able to listen to that and understand that for each individual person, that is something that's missing, I think, a lot.
Yes. I like how you share, about your past, like how it's kind of really led up into what you're interested in and what you're doing now, and how that kind of forms, the things that you truly believe in, right? So from the perspective of your genius, why is that important to know such things to create a life of success? What led you to be very driven?
Well, I think some of it started in my childhood. I'm the first of three. My dad was very competitive, and he always pushed us towards sports. And I think I just naturally had that kind of drive. The confidence I didn't necessarily have. It was something I had to really develop. I was one of those people who really felt like I needed to be a master before I could even, share my knowledge. But once I kind of grew into that, and I started recognizing that I was being put in the captain's position, I was being put in that leadership role from a very young age. And like I said, being 19 and managing these people, it was like, okay, so how many more times does it have to bang into my head that this is my genius? This is what I do. I'm able to lead people and help them just better themselves. Really, at the end of the day, it's about bettering themselves. Everybody can be better. I do believe that on some, form. I talk about personal goals and livelihood goals, activity, action goals, and nurturing goals. And I think if we look at it, it's something I look at every single day during my journaling. I have a square and I have all those 4 letters in there. And I ask myself, what am I focusing on in each quadrant? And I think if everybody were to at least define them, because, let's even take a step back and say, well, what are they? Like, what do I want to accomplish in my personal life, relationship wise, my self-care, what kind of life do I want to live? Where do I want to travel? Like, a lot of people don't even get clear on what they actually want. Pardon me. So why is it important? It's important, well, because I believe that we're all sent here with special gifts. And I believe that for us to really live a fulfilled life, we need to be able to share those gifts with everybody. And if you could figure out a way to do that and actually get paid for it, then you have yourself a complete success in life and in business.
Yeah, totally. I think it took some time to like define, so for people to define this, because they never really take the time. They just kind of like go, figure it out as we go. But when you really like have that clarity, okay, here, this is what I kind of really want to create. It's just like, it just throws you in a whole different trajectory, right? Like you're just like, you're actually going for certain things rather than like shying away from what you truly want from inside, right?
Yeah, and believe me, those roadblocks, if you will, they still come up. You and I have known each other for a few months now, more intimately, and we know that there's certain things that just pop up, and it's the simplest action that you need to take, or just to be able to step back, and that's what a coach does. Really, it's like they're able to see it from a different perspective and just remind you. I mean, sometimes it's touching base and saying, what you're committed to and what you're actually working towards. And also being able to be just really clear on what it is that you want to accomplish in your life.
Exactly. We need that. So from the first, so when you were growing up, like you're talking about your stories when you were growing up, like what stuff actually lit you up? Like how does that play into who you are today?
Funny that you ask about that. And the first thing that pops into my head was my candy business. So my first ever business, I was selling candy. So before I was a Girl Scout, my great uncle, we would visit him in Mexico, and I always loved to go because he ran his own business and he was a candy distributor. And I would always love to go into his office, which was really like his van. And he had all like, tons of candy everywhere. And of course, I loved candy. I was a little kid. And when I learned that I could get more candy, because I would save my money, save my allowance, and we would go visit him like maybe once a month, and then I would just stock up on candy. And then I realized, okay, or I can't remember if my dad told me or how it came about, but okay, I have all these friends who wanted candy. I'd go back to school and they'd be like, where'd you get this? So I decided, okay, let's buy extra candy and sell it. And then boom, I had this business. So it started like a mobile business. I was selling on the bus and in between recess. And then I decided to set up shop on my front yard. And I had a table and a chair and I had my candy out on display. And that's how I made my money. I was able to, I bought my father a recliner chair. So having something to strive for. So I not only had a business just to make money and sell candy, I wanted to do something special for my dad. So I saved all my money. And for Father's Day, I bought him a Lazy Boy recliner chair. It's like something he had never had. He totally wanted this big monstrosity.
Oh, it seems like she's frozen.
Oh no, we're back.
Yeah, you get frozen.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, so you're saying
Okay, good.
about the recline.
Yeah, so I had something to strive for, and I think that is probably what I had been missing the most. And I think a lot of people miss the most in their life is going for a goal. Like, and again, you have to get really clear on what you want, and then be able to decide, well, what do I want my life to look like? I'm a big proponent on setting, smaller 3-month goals, if you will. And yes, having a vision for the future. I have a child, so of course I need to think about the future, but really being able to see the results. And when I bought that recliner chair, like that's what I was focused on, and I did it. It was very short amount of time, because I was a hustler. And at the end of the day, though, I will be completely honest, that business folded. And the reason for that is because my niceness came through, and I folded because I became a bank for all my friends who would give me IOUs to buy product. So they would give me a little piece of paper with their name. I owe you 25 cents, I owe you $1 or whatever it was. And I remember the day that I sat there, we were going to Mexico to buy more stock, and I didn't have any money. I didn't have any money to buy more stock to resell. And it was a lesson for me. It was really, I think it didn't hit me as hard at that time, because I just thought, okay, well, I'll just, my parents will just buy me candy for me, and that's fine. But it was really kind of a blow that my actions created my reality, right? So I don't even know how we got off on that tangent, but I hope I answered your question.
No, that was perfect. That was perfect, because that is so important that people don't realize why businesses fail. Sometimes it's just choices that you made that you didn't realize you made. And then through doing that actual action, then you realize, oh wow, like I'm not doing that again. Like I know now, like don't do that. Well, or what is really important for you in order to move forward, you have to be like really congruent in your actions towards the next thing. But if you didn't have, right, you couldn't get stock, then of course the business just doesn't happen. So that's an awesome lesson. I hope everybody heard that, right? Right. So, what other stories do you have maybe about your life and your business, like where you feel like you were misaligned, and like how did you get back into alignment? Like were there times, of course you had times like that, but like were there any ones that you were like, oh my God, like that was the most horrible experience, but now I know what to do to get back into alignment?
Yeah, well, most recently I was thinking of a corporate job that I held, and it was my first outside sales job. And I ran away from that business. I actually did really well. I was in a territory that I was surpassing my numbers within months. And because I had this bad relationship with the new manager who came in, I decided I'm out of here, and I'm going to go do something else. So I think by leaving early, I didn't allow myself the time to actually learn the complete lesson, because I saw that kind of happen for, a few times after that, where I had this kind of not chip on my shoulder, but really hands on my hips, like, no one's going to tell me what to do. So maybe now that I'm looking back on it, it was just a precursor to, I needed to have my own business. I needed to be my own boss. I needed to call the shots. I needed to tell myself what I needed to do. And, full circle, when now I have my coaching business, and also through working with you, Leimomi, which, I'm not sure if we're supposed to mention that here, but, getting clear for me was the toughest thing. And when I went through and had my blueprints read with you, just being able to have a focus, just being able to have this, one word to look at and say, okay, is this in alignment with what I'm doing, the decision I need to make? If I'm in a fork in the road, okay, what is the most powerful, empowering thing for me to do? That was probably the most helpful that I could find. And again, I'm always learning new lessons as to, everything that goes on in my life, I'm looking at through that filter now. And for me, it's just really helped to, again, gain clarity and have it become more of a habit. Have it become more of a habit.
Yeah, it's taken you like a while to come back around to really truly what you wanted, and then to see like where that actually would take you if you just go that direction rather than the other directions that, when in life we always end up getting pulled off our path, right? But now that you know like the right energy of who you are, you're like, okay, this is my superpower, this is where I go towards. I'm not going to go back here or over there. Like, just a general direction is so important to have, and then you can ask the deeper questions beyond that.
So I have to say, when you show up as your best self, when you show up, for me, it's empower. When I show up empowered and as power, I attract the people who want that. And and sometimes I attract people who don't really want it because they want what I have, but they just can't deal with me having it. And that they're on their own journey. They will eventually get to the point where they figure it out or they don't. It's not up to me. But it's amazing for you to be able to show up as that and be confident in that and still keep working and have someone beside you, who's loving and caring and who I can message and can kind of steer me back on the path and just ask me one question sometimes. And I think, oh my God, it's right there in front of me. Yes, of course. So for that, I'm extremely grateful to you, Leimomi, because you have helped me a lot and you continue to help me each and every day.
Yeah, and that, I think just being vulnerable about that and realizing like I don't really know, how to go about where I'm supposed to go, right? And I think that's what a coach does, is just really guide you towards the steps of like what you need to endure in order to get to the other side, because you can't really see the other side. And then when you're on the other side, you're like, wow, that makes so much sense. Like, no wonder I was stuck, or no wonder it didn't work out exactly the way I wanted to, right? And over time, I think you just gain more trust in yourself. You gain more momentum and more trust in the direction that you feel like it's important to go towards, right? So what are like when you were getting misaligned, like what were the steps that helped you to get back into alignment? Like, of course, we worked on getting back into your superpower, but like, what are the steps that you felt that really helped?
The one thing that I believe in habits. That's one of the things I really work with my clients on, because if you don't have habits and discipline, then everything's a free for all. And for me, the focus of asking myself one or two questions every morning when I would wake up, like literally, I got into that habit. It's become now. It's like I don't even think about it anymore. Like it's just I open my eyes and I ask myself the question, and then when I journal, sometimes the answer changes, but then I go and I just keep asking myself, what do I want? What do I want from today? What's going to bring me the most time freedom? And that focus has kept me probably the most aligned, because it reminds me, number one, of my blueprints, and I know what that whole thing means. And then it also reminds me to state and clearly state what my desires are.
Yeah, this is so important for your time of soul. To really know what you desire and then like make that into your reality, right? Because I'm sure like there were so many times where you felt like giving up, and it was just hard to get up every morning. And then when you ask that question, it's just like, huh, what is that? Right? So when you're having troubles like that, like, and you felt like giving up, like what keeps you going? What gets you going in the direction that you want to go?
Again, it's more my longer term goals. The fact, again, I have a young family, and what do I want for my son? What kind of relationship? Again, it's another version of what do I want. It goes a little bit deeper instead of wider as to just what do I want. It's just more, what do I want specifically with my husband? Like, what kind of relationship do I want? What kind of life do I want to provide, and experiences do I want to provide for my son? What kind of memories do I want to help create with my family and my friends, so that we can all live a fulfilled life.
Yes. It's so important to come back to your own personal goals, because we can easily just go out and try and save the world, which is what I did. And then come back and be like, no, like, what is it that I really want to do? Like, in my personal life, what does that look like? How does that feel like? What am I doing every day? Rather than pulling yourself outside of yourself and trying to help others, there's also the balance of helping what you need for your own needs, for your own bigger goals, because nobody else is going to get you to your bigger goals, right? You're the one that's creating it. So how do you define success? Like, what kind of, pain? I'm sure you endured a lot of pain to define what success means to you. Like now, like, what does it mean to you now, success?
Success to me really means doing what I love and helping others achieve what they want. And that is for everybody, from my closest circle, my son, my husband, to clients, to friends, to people I even meet on the street. Might be a stranger, and a little old lady wants to cross the street, but she's like, keeps looking, and it's like, okay, well, she wants to cross the street, well, let's help her. Let's help them get what they want. So I think having the freedom, really having the freedom to be able to help others.
I love that. I love the definition. So what advice would you give to someone who, wants to get into their genius, right? As you have, like, what helped you decide to do that work, right? To do the work that you love, to have a soul aligned life and business, to be like an expert in your industry, right? Like, what advice you would give to someone who's just starting?
To someone who's just starting, wow, well, first of all, I would say you have to really feel it inside. It has to be a fire that's inside of you that you think about all the time. And if you're that person, because I've had so many people in my life, in my circles, and my clients who just want to help, I just want to help. And, if you're going to create a business out of it, you do have to get paid. So you need to be able to understand that you can help other people for free, but you can also help other people with your gifts, and in exchange receive the energy of money for it. And it can become your life purpose. It can completely fill you up. And in the process, you are actually, I feel, just like an extension of God, of source, of the universe, and being able to really tune into that and give. It's almost like shining a light from within you, and it's your light to shine. Nobody else can shine it. So just remember that you have a light inside, and you need to be able to shine that. You get to choose how you want to do it, and whether it's going to be volunteer or a hobby business, or is it going to be something that you're going to create and be rewarded for.
Mm, that's true. And we forget that we have this inner light that just needs to shine and be like, get your gifts out to the world. And we tend to just like, go, 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 and forget about every part of what our gifts are, what we want to create. And so when you just let yourself be yourself, right, and shine it out, naturally people are more attracted, you feel more passionate, you feel like you have a purpose. it all really comes from within your heart. Is there anything, any last things you want to share with us? Or I think like we covered a lot of amazing stuff. You already told me amazing stories. But anything else you want to cover before we end here?
I think if there's one thing I just want to go back to, and it's something I preach about a lot, and that's multidimensional success. I've talked about business, talked about life, but we are multidimensional beings, and we are not meant just to be put into a box and be the most amazing mother ever, because you're also a woman, and most likely you're also a partner. Most likely you might be, a sister. You're definitely a daughter to somebody. You're also friends. So you have these multidimensional statuses, really, and you can actually achieve success on each and every plane. It does take effort, it does take work, it takes a lot of focus, but most of all, it just really takes commitment. So know that it's possible for you to achieve success on all the dimensions, and you're actually, in a sense, really designed for it.
I like your definition, because usually we don't conceive that that's different parts of who I am, and then bringing that into your being and realizing like there is so much levels of yourself that you still need to discover. You need to be better at it, right? You need to be able to transform your situations in each area of your life, especially the roles that you play, the responsibilities that you have as a human being here on earth. And it is multidimensional. It's not just, clear cut. And this is just, we're not like robots. We're really beautiful beings that have so much potential and so much ways of expressing itself. And you can see it very clearly through the roles that you play, right? Through the things that you care about and you value, and your purpose and your why and your what and your how. There's just so much about us that we still need to discover. So thank you so much for spending this time with us and to share your story. I love your stories. Honestly, it's just like there's so many like empowering and disempowering situations you had going on, but it taught you so much to go after what you want, right? To create the life that you want. So do you have like anything that last you want to share, like your how can we get in contact with you, or a gift that you want to give to everyone listening in?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, I have a Facebook page. So most of the time I am on Facebook. I am a little bit more on Insta now lately. So if you guys are on Insta, you can find me there. Everything is at Isabel Starck, ISABEL STARCK. And I have something free for your audience. And that's actually a part of my private Facebook group. It's called the Fiercely Feminine Entrepreneur. So we tackle the plan, which is my acronym for, again, your personal, your livelihood, activity, and your nurturing goals. So that is one place that is offered for free. Also, you can find me on my website, which has an opt-in for being able to discover what you really are meant to do in this life. So discover that through the opt-in. That's at www.isabelstarck.com.
Thank you. I think everybody should go there, because she has amazing content to share with you guys, and very empowering, inspiring. She's got so much amazing gifts to share in the world, and I know you guys will really benefit from her. So thank you everyone for listening in. Until next time for my next interview series. We will see you guys all very soon. Have a beautiful day. Aloha.
Thank you. Bye, Leimomi.